The snow fell without mercy, silent and heavy, swallowing sound as if the world itself had decided to turn away. Beneath a frozen pine, a young police officer hung upside down from a thick rope, her breath coming in ragged white clouds, her face pale with pain and disbelief. Beside her, her loyal canine partner dangled just as helplessly, his powerful body trembling from exhaustion, his eyes still locked on her as if promising he would not give up. The forest watched, cold and indifferent, as wolves howled somewhere in the distance. This was not an accident. This was punishment. This was cruelty left to finish its work. If you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances even in the darkest moments, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who believes good still exists, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Officer Emily Carter had never imagined her career would bring her here. She had joined the force with hope in her heart, believing the badge meant protection, fairness, and service. In her short years as a police officer in a remote mountain town, she had seen hardship, poverty, and crime born from desperation, but she had also seen gratitude in rescued children and relief in families reunited. Through it all, one presence had never failed her, Rex, her canine partner. He was more than a working dog. He was her shield in dark alleys, her warmth during long winter nights on patrol, and her silent comfort when the job weighed too heavy on her soul. Together, they were a team trusted by the community and feared by those who thrived on breaking the law. The first scream cut through the polished silence of the tennis court like glass shattering. It wasn't the sharp call of a line judge or the thud of a ball on asphalt, it was raw, terrified, and human. Heads turned as a young ballgirl collapsed to her knees near the net, her arms instinctively curling around something small and trembling. A puppy lay there, whimpering, while laughter from the wrong side of privilege echoed just long enough to make the moment unbearable. Before the story goes any further, take a second. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing up for those who can't protect themselves, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this matter because people like her matter. She was 16, wearing an oversized white polo and navy skirt that had been washed so many times the fabric had lost its stiffness. Her name badge read simply volunteer, as if that one word erased everything else she was. She worked weekends at the elite tennis academy to help her mother pay rent, running balls back and forth under the sun while pretending not to notice the expensive watches, the effortless confidence, the way money moved around her like oxygen. That morning, she had brought her puppy for the first time, hiding him near the benches during practice matches. She couldn't leave him home alone, and she trusted that a place filled with sport and discipline would be safe. She was wrong. The puppy was small, barely old enough to understand fear, his fur a warm brown with darker patches around his ears. He had followed her out onto the edge of the court when a group of rich academy kids grew bored waiting for their turn. Their laughter had that hollow edge that comes from never being told no. One careless kick sent a tennis ball flying into the puppy's side. Another followed, harder, deliberate this time. When she ran toward him, dropping the basket of balls she carried, one of them lashed out again, not at the puppy, but at her. The strike caught her cheek, sharp and humiliating, snapping her head to the side as the crowd gasped. For a moment, the world seemed to freeze. The girl tasted blood and clay dust. The puppy cried, a thin sound that somehow carried farther than her own pain. Around them, coaches hesitated, spectators murmured, and the rich kids stood stunned by their own actions, already reaching for excuses they'd used all their lives. She knelt anyway, ignoring the sting in her face, shielding the puppy with her body. Her hands shook as she checked him, whispering comfort without realizing her lips were trembling. This job mattered too much to lose. Her mother's tired eyes flashed through her mind, the stack of unpaid bills on their small kitchen table, the promise she'd made to help. She swallowed her pain because that was what she had learned to do. What she didn't know was that someone else had seen everything. At the far end of the court, near the fence where a lone figure had been watching quietly, a man in civilian clothes straightened. He wasn't loud. He wasn't dramatic. But there was a sudden, unmistakable shift in the air, the kind that happens before a storm breaks. He had come to the academy for his nephew's training session, blending into the background like he always preferred. Years in the Navy SEALs had taught him how to observe without being seen, how to read a situation before it exploded. And this situation was already burning. He moved with purpose, long strides eating up the distance as murmurs turned into uneasy silence. The rich kids tried to laugh it off, their confidence wobbling as they noticed the man approaching. His posture alone carried authority, the kind earned through discipline and loss, not money. The military bearing was impossible to miss now, even beneath a simple jacket and worn sneakers. The girl looked up when his shadow fell across her, expecting another reprimand, another adult telling her to be careful, to know her place. Instead, she saw concern etched into a face lined with experience. He knelt beside her without hesitation, his focus immediately on the puppy. His hands were steady, assessing injuries with practiced calm, murmuring reassurance not just to the animal, but to her as well. Around them, the world started to move again. Coaches rushed forward. Spectators whispered. Phones came out. The rich kid shifted back, suddenly aware that this moment would not be buried like so many others. The Navy SEAL stood slowly, rising to his full height, and the court fell silent. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply looked at the kids responsible, and something in that gaze stripped away their arrogance. He spoke with the weight of someone who had seen real consequences, who understood what cruelty did to both victim and perpetrator. He reminded them that strength was not proven by hurting the weak, that discipline without compassion was just another form of violence. For the first time, the girl saw adults truly intervene, not to protect reputations, but to protect what was right. Security was called. Parents arrived, faces pale with embarrassment and anger. The academy's polished image cracked under scrutiny as witnesses spoke up, emboldened by the presence of someone who refused to look away. The puppy was carefully lifted into the SEAL's arms, his small body still shaking but alive. The girl followed, her knees unsteady, her cheeks swelling as reality caught up to her. In the medical tent, as ice pressed against her face, the weight she carried every day began to lift, just slightly. The SEAL stayed nearby, ensuring the puppy was checked by a vet, refusing to leave until he knew they were safe. He learned about her life in fragments, how her father had left years ago, how her mother worked nights, how this job was more than pocket money. He listened without pity, offering something far rarer, respect. News of the incident spread quickly. Videos circulated. Outrage followed. The academy launched an investigation, sponsors demanded accountability, and suddenly the rich kid's influence meant nothing against public conscience. Consequences came, real ones, the kind that couldn't be bought away. But the most important change happened quietly. The SEAL used his connections not to punish, but to uplift. He helped arrange a scholarship for the girl, ensuring her education wouldn't depend on humiliating weekend shifts. He made sure the puppy received proper care, covering every expense without hesitation. When he left that day, he didn't make promises he couldn't keep. He simply told her she mattered, and sometimes, that was enough to change everything. Weeks passed. The bruise on her face faded, but the memory didn't. Yet it no longer hurt the same way. She returned to the court, not as a volunteer scrambling for approval, but as a young woman who had learned that injustice could be confronted. People greeted her differently now. With respect. With warmth. The puppy grew stronger, his playful energy filling the small apartment she shared with her MOT.